Alright, what's up and welcome back to my art series where I share with you guys some art pieces throughout my art career. Today, we have a very special piece for me personally, as I am a huge Star Wars fan, and if you couldn't tell, this is a Star Wars themed piece. And there's so many cool little Easter eggs in there and calls to the show and Clone Wars and the movies. So stay tuned for the end where I break down the fully rendered image and talk about more of the specifics. This is what I call Throne George. So if you didn't know, George Lucas is the creator of Star Wars, and then here we have him in the middle. Super proud of this piece, a lot of really cool aspects, so let's get right into the sketch phase. Alright, so the sketch phase is looking pretty rough. I had a lot of really solid assets I wanted to include. Overall, the gist of the illustration is definitely here, I definitely have George, I got Darth Maul in the middle. We have all the little elements that I wanted to add, so it's not a very super in-depth sketch or very comparable to a lot of my other sketches, but overall this is what we got for the sketch phase. But the line work phase is where things really show, so let's move to that. Damn. So the line work phase is looking real good. Still kind of messy, not very, I wouldn't say it's very settled. It's pretty hectic, the line work here. As you can see, that electricity coming out of the palm was not black line, but I decided to include it because it's still line work. And overall looks just super badass. Definitely one of the most eye-drawing parts of this piece. But overall the line work's pretty good, not bad. It's a lot to fill in a little space here, but overall looks pretty cool. Let's move on to the fully rendered image and get talking about some of these details. Alright, this just looks super cool. I think I did an insane job with the textures, insane job with the color, and that some of that lighting reflecting off the lightning. But overall, such super cool piece. I love this piece. I did this for May the 4th actually, so every May the 4th except for the last one. Yeah, I know I'm terrible. I did a Star Wars piece. It's kind of Star Wars Now. I don't want to get into a rant, but Star Wars Now is kind of garbage. Disney kind of ruined it, as Disney does, which is kind of sad, but we got a lot of old school elements, some Clone Wars elements in here that I want to talk about. Let's start at the focal point, lightsaber. This dual-ended lightsaber by Darth Maul. Darth Maul is probably my favorite villain. Vader's obviously the GOAT, but my favorite villain for sure is definitely Darth Maul. And you see him, this pose here I struck really well, and I think I gathered him kind of holding up this saber to George Lucas really well. But overall this pose looks really good. Maul looks really good. He's got his hands up, his knee back. I think this pose looks really well. I used zero reference. I think I just went with my style and trusted that I could bring it out, and I think it looks really good. But then let's talk about this lightsaber. Oh my god, it looks so cool. A lot of lighting textures. We have this like black mist kind of emitting from this lightsaber that kind of adds the dark side aura more to it, which is super cool. And overall this lightsaber, we got some like glitchy textures in there, we got some glowing textures in there, but he's offering it up to George Lucas here, as George Lucas is the father of Star Wars. I guess we can move more to the foreground here. We got the little mouse droids that you see in the movies and shows and stuff. They're always coming about when they're walking through the halls and whatnot. He's also on this like really long red carpet, which is super cool. I added like a weird like squiggly texture to it. I think it works really well with the carpet texture. Overall, it's like a really nice texture in comparison to a lot of the other stuff. In the foreground, we got some like Disney age Star Wars stuff. Not really a fan. Not sure why I added it. Cool like R2 unit in the bottom right, and then that weird bird thing. I think they're called porgs. I'm not sure. I think they're called porgs or pogs or something like that. But regardless, had to keep something in the foreground. That was my choice. I think the R2 unit looks pretty cool. A lot of cool textures in there. Yellow one as well, and he obviously is not in the wrong place, and so is this bird. He's about to get messed. There's some pretty devilish characters in this image. I'm not sure they're very safe, but regardless, moving to the left, one of my favorite parts is this hand. It can be interpreted as a lot of people's hands. Darth Vader's hand got cut off, Luke's hand got cut off, but overall how you interpret it or whose hand you think that is, it's a really good piece that I added to it, and a lot of people that I've showed who really like Star Wars really like that I added that hand. If you know Star Wars, you assume that's someone's of importance hand. It's pretty well illustrated. I think it looks pretty cool. Obviously, the bone doesn't pop out like that. It's not very realistic, but I think overall the illustration is pretty cool. I like that a lot. Another really underrated set of characters I really like are these royal guards, and I have them set up in front of George here, standing guard, as you will. But I think they look really, really cool. There's a little differences in their robes and in their swords here. So he's got like a double stabby end, and this dude's just got a really sharp stabby end, which is pretty cool. But overall, they're relatively the same. They should be the same. And yeah, I really like those red royal guards. I don't really see them depicted too much, but I think they're really cool. So that's awesome. On George's throne here, we have two flags. One's got my logo in it, hidden as usual, and then the other one's got like an imperial, logo to it. Yeah, George Lucas is evil. Cry about it. I just think the dark side's cool, is what it is. Overall, let's talk about George Lucas here, though. Pretty well illustrated. Again, I'm not really good at people. I'm not really good at illustrating how people look, but I think overall this is really given George Lucas. It's his hair, it's his glasses, it's his beard. I don't think anyone's gonna think that's anyone else. It's most clearly George Lucas. So I did think I did a really good job there. You can see there's a lot of really cool lighting. We got some lighting from the red saber entering him right around the pants area, and then that purple glow from the force lightning coming out of his hand on his chest there. I think that merger of colors right there is super, super cool. Overall draws the piece. It makes the piece look so much more deep and farther back, and looks really, really good. As you can see, they're in like those hangar bays, so you can see space in the back through that like force field there. A lot of really cool stuff in the back. So let's talk about it. We got some TIE fighters ranging from really small to medium right there to really big. We have I believe this is a rebel, I think this is a rebel like hospital ship. All these ships like are actual things, so that's like obviously a Star Destroyer there. But I think that's a rebel hospital ship. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure. We got a larger Star Destroyer there. Love Star Destroyers. If you've seen any of my other Star Wars pieces, Star Destroyers are always in there. So we got Star Destroyers there, TIE fighters there. Honestly, my favorite ships are TIE fighters and Star Destroyers, so can't even be mad at that. Another really cool little piece is Slave One, Boba Fett's ship here. I think I illustrated this super, super well. I love the colors. I love the little rim light from his ship there, and is overall really a nice little piece. When you zoom out, you notice it, and it's super cool. Everyone loves Boba Fett till Disney ruined it, but we ain't getting into that. And then the best piece, I think, in this space here is obviously the Death Star, shooting out a really cool green beam ray up into the sky. You can see it's pretty damaged, so this is the second coming of the Death Star, it looks like, but overall looks super badass, and is a really cool, like, contrast from that pink to the red, the green, just looks really good. And also the space texture, look at that. That's really, really nice. I don't know how the hell I made that. I'm looking at my layers and there's so many layers, but that just looks really cool. I'm really, really proud of that space texture, and I think it looks really badass. One more thing I guess we can talk about is this force lightning. If I could trademark how I illustrate lightning and electricity, I would. This is a very trademark staple Jake Towel laser illustration. I do all my lasers like this to this day even, and this piece is definitely one that I was really proud of doing, showing off how I do that. So overall, I really love this piece. If you want to get yourself some prints of these pieces, a link in my bio to my in-print store. If there's aspects in this piece that I didn't talk about that y'all really liked, leave a comment below. I really appreciate y'all for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.